Hello, this is my presentation on my future goals as an educational studies major. To start, my name is Audrey Baenziger. I'm getting my bachelor's degree in early education and my master's eventually in special education. And I want to become a kindergarten teacher and eventually a special education teacher. First, I'd like to go over my strengths. The strengths that I possess that will help me in this career field are my motivation, empathy, and relationship management. According to the book EQ From the Inside Out, Breakthrough Tools and Ideas for Living a Fulfilling Life, emotions are the key to decoding all human relationships. Emotions guide us in facing predicaments too important to leave to intellect alone, such as times of personal crisis and in making life-changing decisions. Being able to have the emotional awareness to help others is a beneficial trait to have as an educator. Having motivation will help me keep going through hard times within my career and difficulties with parents and students. Relationship management will also be helpful when it comes to relationships with my students' parents. In Module 2 for my SWOT analysis, I did exercise 4, where I wrote down 5 different categories. So this is frustrating events, sad events, events that caused anger, events that caused disappointment, and events that caused shame. After writing them down, I scaled them from 1 to 10 and tried to look at them in a positive light. This exercise was able to help me understand how well I can navigate my emotions and learn how to separate my emotions and experiences of others. According to From the Inside Out, emotional intelligence attains its highest state in an experience described as flow, or being in the zone. By being in a flow, I will be able to feel through the emotion. Next, I'd like to go over my leadership. I will use my leadership skills for my future organizations by having motivation, creativity, problem-solving skills, and optimism. In Module 3, I conducted an interview on leadership and learning with my Aunt Jen. She has been a teacher for many years now. She explained how her leadership style is optimistic. Her mantra is fair, fun, and firm. She prioritizes her relationships with her students first and foremost, which will lead them to respect her and follow her directions. Her optimistic skills help her connect to her students and strengthen their relationships. According to EQ From the Inside Out, optimists can persevere in the face of obstacles and hardships, perhaps telling themselves, "I know it will get better." During the interview with my aunt, showed me what kind of skills I want to have as a teacher and how optimism is very important to have. I would use motivation as a skill to keep myself going in my career and help me do the best I can. I would use creativity every day while working with young students to keep every day interesting and exciting. I would use problem-solving skills to teach my students as well to use in different difficult situations. I would use optimism, just as my aunt does, to cultivate good relationships with my students, to establish trust and kindness. Next, I'd like to go over motivation. I've had many motivations to push me towards this career field, but had not been able to organize them until taking this class. In Module 4, I made a motivational vision board, including tips to motivate me even more. This vision board includes finding mentors, bringing out the best of myself, building self-esteem, charting your life, creating your own opportunities, investing in planning, making a change, motivating yourself using loss aversion, and turning your work into play. The 2 motivations that I will use the most are bringing out the best in yourself and charting your life. I believe that bringing out the best in yourself is the ultimate motivation for any career. According to EQ The Inside Out, in order to bring out the best in yourself, you have to be able to recognize what your special gifts and talents are. I've been able to display this by enrolling in a teaching course, or in many teaching courses, so that I can use my recognized gifts and talents for good. By charting out your life, you are able to set goals for yourself and keep striving for the next best thing. According to D'Souza, charting your life is similar to developing a business plan that is based on your visions, values, and goals. To chart out my life, I will set clear goals for myself regarding my career and personal life. Next, I'd like to go over my role models. There are many leaders who have inspired me who are involved in the educational world. The first is my Aunt Jen, who has been a teacher for over 20 years. She has always been very dedicated to her work and has always wanted to learn new things herself and cultivate her teaching style. She inspires me to always think outside the box and create an environment for my students where they are inspired to learn when I become a teacher. The second woman who has inspired me is Maria Montessori, who was a physician and educator and created the first Montessori school that valued having students be individuals. Maria had a lot of empathy for students and wanted there to be an educational environment where children could ask more questions and cultivate social harmony. I appreciate her work and mark that she was able to leave on the educational world. The third woman who has inspired me is Anne Sullivan, who was the teacher of Helen Keller and an advocate for the blind and deaf community regarding education. According to the Resilient Educator, Sullivan's determination perhaps sets the ultimate standard for teachers. Even with Keller's disabilities, Sullivan refused to give up and continually set high goals for her student. She was not only a pioneer in teaching the deaf and blind, but to this day is an example for all teachers trying to reach difficult and challenging students. Sullivan's life helps me think about how important resilience is as an educator and pushing herself for the good of others. Next, I'd like to go over implementing empathy and advocacy. In Module 5, I did a case study on a leader who was an advocate and showed empathy in their work. I decided to do my case study on Maria Montessori, who, as I previously stated, was a physician, educator, and advocate for youth in education. While researching Maria, I found how important it is to be an advocate for your students and for what they believe in regarding your career field. D'Souza states that savvy teachers often have a strong ability to tune into their students' feelings without losing the ability to question the logic or reason behind those feelings. From learning more about the advocacy and empathy that Maria portrayed, it showed me how I want to show empathy for advocacy for my future students. I will use the framework of Maria Montessori's mindset for how I will show empathy for my students by creating an inclusive environment for them, being in touch with their feelings, while also showing them how to advocate for themselves and for each other. And lastly, I'd like to go over my noble goals. Noble goals activate all of the other elements of emotional intelligence because they shape our long-term choices and keep us centered on our decisions and commitments. After reading D'Souza's Chapter 8 on pursuing noble goals, I've decided that my noble goals are to create an inclusive environment in every classroom that I am in, to prioritize the well-being of all my future students, and to promote equality by example and teach that to my students. Noble goals shape our long-term choices, according to D'Souza, and can affect our careers and career environments. My goals are targeted towards both the influence of my students and the environment that I will create for them. I want all of my students to feel safe and included in all my lessons and conversations. I want all my students to be inclusive with each other and have me as an example of how to do that. Through my noble goals, I will be able to accomplish this. And here are my references. Thank you.